Ever feel like your self-care routine is secretly plotting against you? You're not alone. In a world where hashtag Self-Care Sunday is trending and everyone seems to have the perfect work-life balance, it's easy to feel like you're doing something wrong when those foolproof relaxation techniques leave you more stressed than before. But what if I told you that some of the most popular self-care advice might actually be sabotaging your mental health? From the pressure to do what you love, to the idea that a vacation can solve all your problems, we're about to unpack some well-meaning tips that could be doing more harm than good. So, grab your favorite stress ball, you'll need it, and let's dive into the world of self-care backfire. We'll explore why that glass of wine might not be the stress buster you think it is, and why forcing yourself to stay positive could be the very thing dragging you down. Here's a thought to ponder as we begin. When was the last time you questioned whether your self-care routine was actually caring for you or just adding to your to-do list? Buckle up, folks. We're about to turn the world of self-care on its head and discover what true wellness really looks like. It might not be what you expect, but trust me, your future, less stressed self will thank you for sticking around. Chapter 1. The myth of do what you love. Ever felt like your self-care routine is secretly sabotaging your peace of mind? You're not alone. Today we're diving into the murky waters of well-intentioned advice that might be adding more stress to your life instead of alleviating it. Buckle up, because we're about to unravel some popular self-care myths that could be doing more harm than good. Let's start with the granddaddy of all self-care advice. Do what you love, and you'll never work a day in your life. Sounds dreamy, right? But let's get real for a second. Even if you're lucky enough to land your dream job, there will still be tasks that feel like, well, work. Think about it. Would you rather be at your desk or sipping margaritas on a beach? The truth is, no matter how much you love your job, it's still going to involve some not so thrilling moments. This popular advice can backfire in two major ways, leading to a serious case of self-care backfire. First, it blurs the line between work and personal life, making it nearly impossible to achieve that elusive work-life balance we're all chasing. When you're supposed to be eternally grateful for your passion job, it becomes hard to switch off. Suddenly, you're always on, and your mental health takes a nosedive. Secondly, it sets unrealistic expectations that can lead to job dissatisfaction. What if your job isn't your ultimate passion? Does that mean you're failing at life? Of course not. But this myth can make you feel like you're falling short, even if your job offers a great income and supports a healthy lifestyle. Talk about a recipe for millennial burnout. Anne Helen Peterson, in her book Can't Even How Millennials Became the Burnout Generation, nails it when she describes burnout as a persistent state of dull exhaustion. It's like treading water in the deep end of a pool, where even a minor hiccup feels like it could pull you under. Sound familiar? That's because we're all swimming in the same stress-filled waters. So, what's the solution to this self-care conundrum? It's all about setting realistic expectations and maintaining boundaries. Remember, it's okay if your job isn't your ultimate passion. What matters is finding a balance that works for you. Don't let the pressure to love your work consume your entire identity and life. That's not workplace wellness. That's a one-way ticket to Burnout City. In the end, effective self-care isn't about following every piece of advice you hear. It's about finding what truly works for you, even if that means ignoring some popular tips. So next time you hear, do what you love, take it with a grain of salt. Your mental health will thank you. Remember, stress management isn't about eliminating all stress from your life. That's impossible. It's about learning to navigate the stresses in a way that doesn't leave you feeling like you're constantly running on empty. So, let's debunk these self-care myths together and find a path to genuine wellness that doesn't leave us more stressed than when we started. Chapter 2. The Vacation Trap. Now that we've debunked the myth of do what you love, let's tackle another self-care tip that might be secretly stressing you out. The almighty vacation. We've all heard it, just take a break and unplug. But here's the kicker. If your work life is a dumpster fire, a week in paradise isn't going to magically extinguish the flames. Think about it. You've just dropped a small fortune on a tropical getaway. You're lounging on the beach, sipping coconut water, feeling like you finally escaped the daily grind. But as your return flight touches down, that familiar sense of dread creeps back in faster than you can say, back to reality. Sound familiar? Here's the brutal truth. Vacations are like slapping a designer band-aid on a wound that needs stitches. Sure, it looks pretty, but it's not solving the underlying problem. If you're stuck in a negative cycle at work or feeling overwhelmed by life, a few days off isn't going to make those issues disappear into thin air. That's not stress management, it's stress avoidance. It's crucial to address those underlying problems first. Maybe it's an overbearing workload, poor work from home boundaries, or just a toxic work environment. Whatever it is, these issues won't vanish during a week in paradise, no matter how many Mai Tais you drink. This is where the concept of workplace wellness comes into play. It's about creating a sustainable, healthy work environment, not just escaping it periodically. Before you book that dreamy escape, make sure to tackle the core issues. Set boundaries, have that tough conversation with your boss, or seek ways to reduce your workload. A well-timed vacation should be the cherry on top of a balanced life, not a desperate escape route. This is what real work-life balance looks like. Remember, self-care isn't about running away from your problems. It's about facing them head-on and creating a life you don't need to escape from. So next time someone tells you to just take a vacation, remind them that true relaxation starts with addressing the root causes of stress, not just temporarily avoiding them. Let's make our everyday lives something we don't need a vacation from. That's the key to avoiding millennial burnout and achieving genuine job satisfaction. It's about setting realistic expectations for ourselves and our work lives, rather than buying into self-care myths that promise quick fixes. True mental health and well-being come from consistent, everyday practices, not just occasional escapes. So let's focus on building a life that doesn't require constant vacations to feel balanced. That's a self-care goal worth striving for, and one that won't backfire on you in the long run. Chapter 3: The Alcohol Escape. Now that we've tackled the myths of do what you love and the vacation cure-all, let's dive into another self-care trap that might be lurking in your evening routine. The good old drink to unwind strategy. We've all been there, right? After a day that feels like it's been dragging on since the Jurassic era, the siren call of that bottle in your cabinet can be pretty tempting. But here's the kicker. While that glass of wine or fancy cocktail might feel like your best friend in the moment, it could be setting you up for a self-care backfire of epic proportions. Let's break it down, shall we? Sure, enjoying a drink can be part of a balanced life. But when that nightcap becomes your go-to stress management tool, you're treading on thin ice. It's like using a flamethrower to light a candle, effective in the short term, but with some potentially fiery consequences. Here's the thing, relying on alcohol as your primary relaxation technique is like putting a band-aid on a broken leg. It might numb the pain for a bit, but it's not fixing the underlying problem. And before you know it, you're caught in a cycle that's about as healthy as eating ice cream for breakfast every day. Tempting, but not advisable. It's crucial to address those underlying problems first. Maybe it's an overbearing workload, poor work from home boundaries, or just a toxic work environment. Whatever it is, these issues won't vanish during a week in paradise, no matter how many Mai Tais you drink. This is where the concept of workplace wellness comes into play. It's about creating a sustainable, healthy work environment, not just escaping it periodically. Before you book that dreamy escape, make sure to tackle the core issues. Set boundaries, have that tough conversation with your boss, or seek ways to reduce your workload. A well-timed vacation should be the cherry on top of a balanced life, not a desperate escape route. This is what real work-life balance looks like. Remember, self-care isn't about running away from your problems. It's about facing them head-on and creating a life you don't need to escape from. So next time someone tells you to just take a vacation, remind them that true relaxation starts with addressing the root causes of stress, not just temporarily avoiding them. Let's make our everyday lives something we don't need a vacation from. That's the key to avoiding millennial burnout and achieving genuine job satisfaction. It's about setting realistic expectations for ourselves and our work lives, rather than buying into self-care myths that promise quick fixes. True mental health and well-being come from consistent, everyday practices, not just occasional escapes. So let's focus on building a life that doesn't require constant vacations to feel balanced. That's a self-care goal worth striving for, and one that won't backfire on you in the long run. Chapter 4: The Pressure of Perfection. Alright, let's tackle another self-care trap that's been lurking in the shadows. The pressure of perfection. We've all seen it. The endless stream of social media posts touting the benefits of staying positive no matter what. But what happens when this relentless pursuit of positivity becomes a self-care backfire? You start your day with the best intentions. Gratitude journal? Check. Morning meditation? Done. Positive affirmations? Recited with gusto. But somewhere along the way, the pressure to maintain this perfect, happy facade starts to feel like your Atlas, carrying the weight of the world on your shoulders. It's exhausting, and spoiler alert, it's ultimately impossible. The truth is, striving for constant positivity is about as realistic as expecting your cat to start paying rent. It creates unrealistic expectations and makes it difficult to acknowledge and process negative emotions. Instead of feeling genuinely better, you end up feeling like a failure for not being able to maintain perpetual happiness. Talk about a recipe for millennial burnout. So what's the solution to this self-care myth? Embrace the full spectrum of human emotions. Life isn't a constant highlight reel. It's more like a roller coaster with its ups, downs, and occasional loop-de-loops. It's okay to feel sad, angry, or frustrated sometimes. These emotions are just as valid as happiness and joy. By acknowledging and processing all your emotions, you create a more authentic and sustainable sense of well-being. Think of it this way. If you're always trying to force a smile, you're not giving yourself the space to heal and grow. It's like putting a fresh coat of paint over a wall with cracks. It might look good for a while, but eventually, those cracks will show through. Instead, focus on repairing the wall first. Address the underlying issues and give yourself the grace to feel whatever you're feeling. That's real stress management. Experts in workplace wellness advocate for emotional authenticity as a cornerstone of mental health. By being honest with yourself about your emotions, you can develop healthier coping mechanisms and build a more resilient mindset. This doesn't mean wallowing in negativity, but rather allowing yourself to experience and move through your emotions naturally. It's all about finding that elusive work-life balance. So next time you feel the pressure to stay positive, remind yourself that it's okay to have a bad day. It's okay to feel overwhelmed or upset. True self-care is about honoring your emotions and taking steps to address the root causes of your stress. This approach not only improves your mental health, but also leads to greater job satisfaction and a more balanced life. In the end, self-care isn't about achieving perfection. It's about being kind to yourself and recognizing that you're doing the best you can. By letting go of the unrealistic expectation of perpetual happiness, you free yourself to experience the full spectrum of life. And that, my friends, is where genuine well-being begins. So let's ditch the toxic positivity and embrace our perfectly imperfect selves. After all, life's too short for fake smiles and suppressed emotions. Chapter 5: Customizing Self-Care. As we wrap up our journey through the maze of self-care myths, let's tackle the final piece of the puzzle: customizing your self-care routine. We've debunked the "do what you love" mantra, the vacation cure-all, the drink to unwind strategy, and the pressure of perfection. Now, it's time to get personal. Scrolling through social media, you've probably seen countless hashtag Self-Care Sunday posts that make it seem like everyone else has cracked the code to perfect well-being. But here's the kicker. What works for one person might leave you feeling more stressed than before. That's the essence of self-care backfire, when generic advice clashes with your unique needs. Think about those popular self-care tips you've tried. Maybe it was a morning routine that left you exhausted instead of energized, or a meditation practice that made you more anxious than calm. The allure of these one-size-fits-all solutions is strong, but when they don't fit, they can leave you feeling like you're failing at self-care. And let's be honest, that's the last thing any of us need. So, what's the solution to this self-care conundrum? It's time to get personal, folks. Self-care isn't about following trends. It's about tuning into your own needs and desires. It's about finding what genuinely recharges you and helps you manage stress. Maybe it's belting out your favorite songs in the shower. Maybe it's coding for fun. Or perhaps it's simply setting boundaries to protect your mental health. The key is to listen to yourself and be brutally honest about what you need. Think of self-care as your favorite pair of jeans. It should fit you perfectly, not someone else. This means letting go of the pressure to follow every Instagram-worthy trend and instead focusing on what makes you feel good. If journaling helps you process your thoughts, do it. If a quiet cup of coffee in the morning sets the tone for your day, make it a ritual. The point is to find practices that resonate with you and make them a part of your routine. Experts advocate for this individualized approach because it leads to sustainable self-care. When you create a routine that truly fits your life, you're more likely to stick with it. This isn't about achieving perfection, it's about finding balance and nurturing your well-being in a way that feels right for you. It's about creating realistic expectations for yourself and your self-care journey. Remember, self-care is a journey, not a destination. It's about being kind to yourself and recognizing that your needs may change over time. What works for you today might not work tomorrow, and that's okay. The important thing is to stay flexible and keep exploring what makes you feel good. This approach not only helps prevent burnout, but also contributes to overall job satisfaction and work-life balance. So, as we conclude this video on Self-Care Backfire, take a moment to reflect on your own practices. Are they serving you, or are they adding to your stress? If it's the latter, it's time to make a change. Customize your self-care routine to fit your life and give yourself the grace to evolve along the way. By embracing a personalized approach to self-care, you'll not only avoid the pitfalls of generic advice, but also create a life that supports your mental health and overall well-being. And remember, in the grand scheme of things, the most important relationship you'll ever have is with yourself. So make it a good one. Your future self will thank you for it. Alright folks, we've been on quite the journey through the maze of self-care myths, haven't we? From the do what you love mantra, to the vacation cure-all, the drink to unwind strategy, the pressure of perfection, and finally the importance of customizing your self-care routine. It's been a wild ride, but here we are, hopefully a little wiser and ready to tackle self-care in a way that actually works. And there you have it, my friend, some well-meaning self-care tips that might be doing more harm than good. Remember, okay? The path to true relaxation and a balanced life isn't always paved with popular advice. Self-care is personal, and it's all about finding the right thing that works for you. So, here's a thought-provoking question for you. When was the last time you truly listened to yourself instead of following generic self-care advice? Think about it. Are your current self-care practices serving you, or are they just another item on your to-do list? Remember, the goal isn't to have the most Instagram-worthy self-care routine. It's about creating a life that doesn't constantly leave you feeling like you need to escape from it. Whether that means saying no to after-work drinks, indulging in your favorite hobby, or simply giving yourself permission to feel your emotions without judgment, your self-care should be as unique as you are. So next time you're bombarded with self-care advice, take a moment to think about whether it's truly beneficial for your unique situation. Trust your gut, be kind to yourself, and remember that it's okay if your version of self-care doesn't look like anyone else's. If you enjoyed this lesson and found it helpful, please consider leaving us a like and a comment. Subscribe to our channel for more videos just like this one, where we dive deep into the realities of modern life and how to navigate them. Until next time, take care of yourself in whatever way feels right for you.